Hello everybody, my name is Lakin, and welcome to Shonen This Week, the show where we read all of the manga in Shonen Jump and review them. We also read some manga that aren't in main Shonen Jump, but whatever. Now, I've added a lot of manga on this week, and there's been a lot of big news, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. I want to proudly announce that we are adding Class 2B Hero Destroyerz, the brand new Canon Master, Hal Formula, Animal Signal, Drawn to the Fire, Roku's House of Oddities, and finally, the one that took me longest to read, obviously, Akane Banashi. So we're adding 7 whole new series to the ranking list this time. And this week we're also going to rank Nippon Sangoku, the 3 Nations of the Crimson Sun. The anime on this just ended, and I caught up on the manga, which seems to be getting scans fairly quickly now, so if those release in a timely manner, we'll review those on here as well. Soon enough, we're actually going to break this into sections though, because I'm actually in the process of getting caught up on everything in main WSJ, so we're going to start having a section for main and a section for the other stuff, so that's going to include, Centuria, Mad, all of that stuff is going to go elsewhere. But it's going to be in the same video though, we'll just break into sections. And also, another important thing, I'm going to start timing myself when I review these things, because if not, you can probably see we're going to be here for a very long time, so I'm going to give myself only a single minute, we're going to time it on my phone here, to talk about everything. Well, not everything, but each individual manga. Now, if we move all these onto here, we're going to start with Class 2B Hero Destroyerz. Now, 1 minute, starting now. Okay, this chapter of Class 2B Hero Destroyerz was honestly not that good, I will say, and I'm going to talk about all of the previous chapters whenever I talk about these ones because I wasn't able to talk about them previously. I'm not that big of a fan of this one. I think the humor is kind of weak and it's not nearly as strong as Gintama. That being said, the DNA is very clearly here. I mean, just look at the main character. He's literally Gintoki with black hair. It was an enjoyable read, but it wasn't that enjoyable of a read. And this chapter, it did get a couple of good laughs. Mr. Expendable was pretty funny. I laughed about that. But other than that, there's just not really much going on that I really care about. I get that it's a gag manga, but also gag mangas are supposed to be funny. So actually, I'm going to put this in C tier. And now let's talk about Canon Master, which literally just had its first chapter today. I will say I think the art is really good in this. I think the premise is cool. Unfortunately, I think the execution is extremely lacking. I find the characters to be really flat. I think this is constructed on tropes first and story second, and I think literally all the exposition is just directly told to you in an extremely awkward way, and there's no room left for reader interpretation. Basically, it's all tell, no show. I would put this chapter at B tier. It's obviously better than 2B Hero Destroyerz, but all in all, really not that great, not a promising start. I can see this one getting the axe very soon, but I hope it picks it up. Next, we're going to start with Hal Formula, which I actually think had a ridiculously strong first 2 chapters. As a matter of fact, I would put this in S tier. I think this is probably the strongest new debut out of the new batch by far. I don't think that's a stretch to say. The first chapter of this was absolutely phenomenal. The second chapter really picks it up, and I'm just very excited to see where this is going. Hopefully the author does not fumble, because it is very easy to go downhill really quickly when you're writing a sports-based manga. We've seen this happen all too many times. Hopefully it doesn't happen here, because this one is really good, and the art is incredible. Now, Animal Signal, so far I consider this a gag manga. It does seem like it has a little bit of romance going on, but I enjoyed the first 3 chapters. It's good. I find the 2 main characters likable. I found the chapters enjoyable to read. They weren't at all a slog like 2B Hero Destroyerz, where when I was reading it, catching up to it, I just kind of wanted it to be over. I couldn't imagine there being 200 chapters of this. Animal Signal, on the other hand, really good. Solid first 3 chapters. I don't have much to say about it. Like I said, main characters are interesting. I learned lots of animal facts, which is always a great bonus. And that's basically all I have to say about that. Drawn to the Fire. Now you can see I'm really leaving my comfort zone here. All the stuff I had on here previously were basically action manga. Now we've added a bunch of sports manga to the mix. Akane Banashi was a really weird read for me. But anyway, let's talk about Drawn to the Fire, which I think is an A tier. I think all the characters in this are really cool. like, the character writing is actually really good. I didn't really find it cornball at any moment, but unfortunately, it may not be doing too well. I could foresee the acts for this series, but I enjoyed it. I thought the first 10 chapters were really good, and I'm excited to see where it goes, but I'm not sure if it has enough substance going on. I think it's wasted a lot of time introducing characters like the other team that, won't really be relevant for a while. So I'm intrigued to see where this goes and if it can survive in this absolutely brutal Shonen Jump landscape. Now let's talk about Roku's House of Oddities, which was good. I think there's 10 chapters of this so far. I would probably put this at A tier. So Animal Signal, Cannon Master, and Hal Formula are the newest batch. I would say Hal Formula is the strongest of that. Now, of the previous batch, which was Drawn to the Fire, Roku's House of Oddities, and Hero Destroyerz, I would say it's definitely not Hero Destroyerz, it's between one of these two. Probably Roku's House of Oddities. All the characters in this are really strong, really interesting. All the chapters were fun to read, really fun. And I'm invested in the story. And, well, not so much the story, it's just I'm invested in whatever the hell these guys are going to get up to every week. And that's kind of, for me, that's hard to do. Because 2B Hero Destroyerz is the same sort of thing, and I'm not invested in that at all. Whereas this, the gags, it's funny, it uses modern slang, it speaks to me, okay? I liked it. A tier. Akane Banashi, this one's going to be really hard to rank in just a minute, but I'll try to go quickly. 210 chapters of this, including the newest chapter. It was really good. This is extremely unusual for me to read, but I enjoyed it all the way through. This was absolutely riveting, genuinely, for a manga about a girl literally just performing plays. But some of the chapters in this really made me think about myself and my own art. I have to entertain you guys. Think more about the audience, I learned some lessons from this for performance art. Truly, I really did. And I thought this was an absolutely great manga. I love Akane as a main character. I like how there's literally no romance in it at all. Like, Akane is literally Rakugo sexual. This is an absolutely S tier. Of course, I'm putting it above Hal Formula. Keep in mind, the order in the particular rows does not really matter. But, it is above Hal Formula. Now, I can't talk about this in a minute. I'm not really going to get into the specifics of the chapter this week, or we're just going to run on way too long. But next week, we'll be able to dive into the individual chapters of these, rather than just an overview. Nippon Sangoku. Now, this is a little kind of selfish for me, but I think this is the best anime of the season, and I immediately started reading the manga, which unfortunately didn't even have full translations, and the team that's working on it is quite slow, but they seem to be picking up the pace. This is an absolutely brilliant military strategy series with lots of lovable characters, and the first season of this anime was by far the best this season. Honestly, not even close in my opinion. Yes, I've watched stuff like Re:Zero. No, I didn't like it as much as Nippon Sangoku. Go read it, go watch it now. It is absolutely peak. The manga as well, the newest chapter just came out 2 days ago, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and throw that in S tier above Hal Formula. And now we can talk about the specifics of the chapters, starting with Kinato's magic. This plays out roughly exactly how you expect it to. It ends with Kinato showing up to save the chieftain from her, I think it's her grandma, right? I don't know, it was a good chapter. I'd put it firmly above Cannon Master. It wasn't anything above average. I don't really have that much to say about it. Like I said, it plays out exactly how I predicted last week, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Centuria, this was a really great chapter. It opens up with Lalawag having a 1v1, and it moves over to Lucas also having a 1v1. Well, no, a 3v3. But like I predicted again, we're going to get to see Lucas fight. They're going against someone with an ability, literally, if you look at her, you just die. Now, it seems like they're kind of foreshadowing Lucas dying here. Let's hope that does not happen. He could look at this person for 9 more seconds without incurring major damage. Without dying. So, let's see. This was absolutely an S tier chapter. I would put this as the best chapter of the week. Probably. I don't really think that's a stretch. The Kagurabachi one was good, but it probably wasn't as good as this. Anyway, I'm spoiling myself. Let's hop into Underdoctor. Now, Underdoctor, they go to find the bootleg Underdoctor, and it's just a good chapter. You know, you get some classic heartwarming stuff. They're all on a mission. And kind of when I was reading this, originally I had qualms that there was no overarching story of this. And I thought that was a problem. But this week I realized I was just genuinely invested in the characters. And I just wanted to see what they were going to get up to. And I was like, maybe the story of the week actually isn't that bad. I don't know. It was a good chapter. The new Underdoctor is interesting, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be in it for long. It seems like he's just kind of like an arc character, so we'll see. But I'm excited to see where this goes. Obviously, Haiji is going to cure his friend and all that, but it was a good chapter. There's not much to analyze. Kagurabachi, this is absolutely an S tier. We find out about Subaru's sorcery. Some guy shows up from the bureau to basically try to stop the enchanted blades, but they've figured out how to do it, so it's a bit too late. Subaru's sorcery is duplication, like he can just create a bunch of himself, so that's why he's a master swordsmith. It's because he's got one of them fanning the flame, he's got one of them probably writing a book, he's got one of them hammering the blade. Subaru really is the GOAT. It's a shame he's not going to be able to use that sorcery with the sword. Can you imagine how busted that would be? Anyway, Kunishike's line at the end of this chapter, "It's time to tame God," moved me. That's all I have to say. Sakamoto Days, this is a completely average chapter with zero stakes as usual, but it's got that Suzuki choreography and Suzuki charm, and I just enjoyed reading it. Sakamoto Days seems like it's going to be over in the next few weeks, so we're going to be saying goodbye to it, unfortunately. Maybe fortunately at this point. It's going out with a pretty sad whimper. But anyway, I thought this chapter was a fun read. That's it. There's no depth. Ichi the Witch, Fujimine retreats, and Team Discaris is having a game of ping pong against the Magic Keepers. I didn't really enjoy this more than... No. Actually, we got quite a bit here, because Fujimine goes back and she meets the World Hater, and we're revealed to like a bunch of new enemies. So it seems like they've got like an Akatsuki going on here. We're finally getting into that typical shonen territory that we're familiar with. Either way, yeah, no, this was a really good chapter. Probably not going to be as good next week based on the setup. Now, let me tell you about what I'm working on. I'm hoping to be able to add Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, Nue's Exorcist, and finally Shinobi Undercover to this list starting next week. Speaking of next week, apparently Hunter x Hunter is back, so I'm going to be reading that next. Also, allegedly, Bleach is coming back. We don't know if that's true, but if it is true, I'm already caught up on it, so that'll be added onto the list. Now, as for what I'm not going to read, Blue Box and Hema 10, since they're both apparently ending. I'm also not going to read Me and Roboco, because it just doesn't really look interesting to me. I don't know. I don't think we'll ever rank that one. Maybe you could yell at me in the comment section. Maybe it's peak. Sure. I'll accept your feelings, okay? Maybe if enough people tell me to read it, I will read it. But yeah, we're going to complete the WSJ lineup. Okay? Cool. Well, that's been it for this week. Next week, we're going to do it in a bit more orderly manner. But I just wanted to get this all out there for now. And yeah, that's all from me. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe.